When a true legend passes away, you expect the biggest names in the industry to stay silent until everyone else has spoken. But that's not what happened when Sparky D passed away. As her family's funeral and memorial announcement spread across the hip-hop world, something unexpected happened. DJ Khaled paid tribute. Jermaine Dupri honored her legacy. Hip-hop pioneer MC Sha-Rock shared an emotional message. And legendary producer DJ Premier reminded everyone that he'd been a fan since the very beginning, even revealing that he and Nuz had already given Sparky D her flowers on their collaboration bouquet. Think about that for a second. Artists from completely different generations, from the architects of hip-hop to some of today's biggest names, all stopped to honor one woman. But here's the question. Who was Sparky D, and why did the people who helped build hip-hop respect her so deeply? Because if you only know her name from today's headlines, then you've missed one of the most important stories in rap history. In this video, we're going to walk through the real story of Doreen Broadnax, the woman the world knew as Sparky D, where she came from, the record that made her a household name almost overnight, the war that changed hip-hop forever, the years the industry tried to forget her, and the incredible legacy that brought pioneers and superstars together to honor her one final time. Stay with me, because the part most people missed wasn't the fame. It was the woman she became after the fame walked out the door. But here's the turn that most tribute videos won't tell you honestly. And it's the part that matters most. Because the same industry that celebrated her when she was hot didn't protect her when the spotlight moved on. In her own words, during later interviews, Sparky D spoke openly about how the doors simply closed. She talked about struggling to get booked for shows, finding it harder and harder to earn a living, and watching opportunities disappear the way they so often do for the pioneers who came first, but got rewarded the least. All the doors were closed to me, she admitted. It was a simple sentence. But behind those few words was years of disappointment. Years of watching the culture she helped build move on without her. And she didn't stop there. She also chose to speak publicly about surviving domestic abuse. She opened up about her battle with crack cocaine addiction. She talked about the darkest chapters of her life, the chapters most people spend their entire lives trying to hide. That kind of honesty is rare. Most people protect the myth. Most legends want you to remember only the highlights. Sparky D wanted people to know the truth. Because she believed that if her story could help even one person escape the same darkness, then every painful memory had a purpose. And that's exactly what makes the next chapter of her life so powerful. Because she didn't stay there. She found faith. She rebuilt her life. She became a gospel artist. The same voice that once shook battle stages throughout New York was now lifting people up through music and ministry. The fighter became a witness. The battle rapper became a messenger of hope. She transformed years of pain into purpose, using her testimony to encourage people facing addiction, abuse, rejection, and brokenness. For many of the people who followed her later years, that transformation became her greatest achievement. Not the records, not the rap battles, not even the Roxanne Wars, but the woman who refused to let her worst moments become the final chapter of her story. Even Hollywood eventually acknowledged the impact she made. When Netflix released Roxanne in 2017, telling the life story of Roxanne Shante, Sparky D became part of that story as well, portrayed by actress Charlize Theron. For an entirely new generation of fans, it was a reminder that before social media, before streaming, before billion-dollar record deals, women like Sparky D were already fighting for respect inside a genre that barely had room for them. And without pioneers like her, the history of hip-hop would look very different today. So when news of her passing broke in the first days of July 2026 at the age of 61, with her family choosing to keep the cause of death private, the response revealed exactly how much respect she had earned. And this is the part I told you to wait for. As Sparky D's family shared the official funeral and memorial announcement, tributes began pouring in from every corner of the hip-hop community. Hip-hop pioneer MC Sha-Rock described her passing as a tremendous loss, reminding everyone that the culture must celebrate its legends while they're still here. Legendary producer DJ Premier honored Sparky D as one of Brownsville's original female battle MCs. He recalled becoming an instant fan during the Roxanne Wars and reflected on how he and Nuz had recently celebrated her legacy on their collaboration Bouquet, a tribute that now feels even more meaningful. But the respect didn't stop with the pioneers. As more artists learned of her passing, some of hip-hop's biggest names also stepped forward. Jermaine Dupri paid tribute to Sparky D, recognizing her groundbreaking contribution to hip-hop and acknowledging her role in helping open doors for generations of female MCs who followed. DJ Khaled also shared his condolences, celebrating her life, her influence, and the legacy she leaves behind while sending love and prayers to her family, friends, and fans. Think about what that says. Artists separated by decades, different generations, different eras of hip-hop, yet all of them pause to honor the very same woman. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens when someone helps build the foundation of an entire culture. She may not have always received the spotlight she deserved while she was here. But when it mattered most, hip-hop showed up for one of its true pioneers. And that's what makes this story so powerful. The people who honored Sparky D understood something the rest of the world often forgets. A legend isn't measured by chart positions. A legend isn't measured by platinum plaques. And a legend certainly isn't measured by how many headlines they generate after they're gone. A legend is measured by the doors they open for everyone who comes after them. Every woman who has ever stepped into a rap battle. Every female MC who has ever picked up a microphone and refused to be overlooked. Every artist who believed she belonged in a space that once tried to shut women out. Is walking through a door that pioneers like Sparky D helped kick open decades ago. That's the legacy. Not just the music. Not just the battle records. Not just the Roxanne Wars. But the courage to stand in front of an entire industry and prove that talent doesn't recognize gender, it recognizes greatness. So let's be clear about what Sparky D leaves behind. She leaves behind a catalog that helped define one of the most important eras in hip-hop history. She leaves behind the legacy of the Roxanne Wars, one of the greatest rivalries and most influential moments the genre has ever seen. She leaves behind a blueprint for female battle rappers that continues to inspire artists more than 4 decades later. And beyond the music, she leaves behind something even greater. A story of survival. A story of honesty. A story of redemption. A woman who fell. A woman who fought. A woman who found her faith. And a woman who chose to use her voice to lift others long after the spotlight had faded. That's a legacy no chart can measure. And perhaps that's why when news of her passing spread, the tributes came from every corner of hip-hop. From pioneers like MC Sha-Rock, to legendary producers like DJ Premier, to respected industry leaders like Jermaine Dupri, to global superstars like DJ Khaled. They all recognized the same truth. Sparky D wasn't simply part of hip-hop history. She helped write it. She didn't need the biggest names in the world to validate her. Her work already did that. The hundreds of thousands of records she sold did that. The generations of women she inspired did that. The respect shown by the pioneers who stood beside her legacy did that. And now, with artists from every generation coming together to honor her life, the culture has reminded the world of something incredibly important. We can't wait until legends are gone before we remember what they gave us. Because flowers mean so much more when they're received with a smile instead of laid beside a casket. Here's my question for you. Who is a pioneer you believe never received the recognition they truly deserved while they were still here? Whose contributions changed an industry, inspired a generation, yet somehow faded from the spotlight far too soon? Leave their name in the comments below. Let's give them their flowers today, while they can still hear the applause. Because that's exactly what Sparky D's story teaches us. Honor the pioneers. Protect the history. Celebrate the people who built the culture. Not tomorrow. Not after they're gone. Today. Rest in power, Sparky D. Brownsville gave the world a fighter. Hip-hop gave her a microphone. She gave the culture a legacy. And that legacy will live on forever. Thanks for watching.